Welcome to Texas Local Live. I'm Jake Chris.
And I'm Ben Martinek, and tonight we've got Miss Kensie Coppin here. How are you?
I'm great. How are y'all doing?
Doing really well.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we're bearing the winter elements today. It's a little chilly out.
I think so. Last week we went from we had a 30-degree difference.
Yeah.
And then a 40-degree difference, and now we're back down.
Yeah, and this weekend's gonna be a little bit the same. Today was drizzly and
it's gonna be about 30
good
degrees.
songwriting weather.
But I'd rather have this than 90-degree weather in November.
Fair enough. Very true.
I still don't have AC, so I'm still sweating down the highway.
There you go. Keep it cool for you then.
She has an awesome band. I just want to throw that out there.
Thanks. Thank
sweet.
you. Oh, I love it. It's really cozy. If I'm on the road and I need to sleep or something, I can just get in a parking lot,
Perfect.
put my shades up, and take a nap.
How many miles you got on it?
It's got 84,000 miles. I got it at about 40,000. But between two vehicles, I've put probably 80,000 miles to 100,000 miles this year, or within the last 2 years. So. I've helped with the mileage on some vehicles.
You're moving around a little bit, huh? Put some
Just
miles
a little
on.
bit.
Very cool. Well, again, thanks for coming out. Like we like to do every week here, we like to get to know the artist first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
The formalities out of the way. So I'm sure you've told the story 100,000 times. Tell us a little bit about your start. Tell us where you came from.
Okay.
You know, read you were, went to Nashville for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and some of your fans and some of the audience might know that already.
Yes.
Wrote some songs there, but go ahead and give us a little insight into.
Okay. Well, I was born in Belton. Do you know where that is?
I was born in Temple. Yeah. Scott
Homies.
and White.
Homies.
Yeah.
Scott and White.
That's crazy.
So I was born there, but when I was about 2 or 3, my parents moved me to a little bit north of San Antonio, around New Braunfels area. Honestly, pretty close to Sutherland Springs.
Oh, okay.
But it was Bulverde, and it's a bigger town now, but it was small back then. So I grew up there until I was about 13 before we moved to Nashville. But my first performance was when I was 6 at my kindergarten talent show.
Nice.
Wow. I still remember the nerves. It was pretty crazy, but
Butterflies going all.
I was a statue, but I sang, and
Perfect.
after
yes.
it I was hooked. So I started performing at Cheatham Street Warehouse when I was 8.
Not a bad venue to start in.
I know, and
Jeez.
Kent Finlay really helped me out. He was
good.
so
good
good to
guy.
me, and I got to play and sing with some members of the Ace in the Hole band, which is George Strait's band. And then I got introduced to 2 Tons of Steel. And, I did that, and I also did the Opry circuit in Texas, which I love doing that. I don't know if any of y'all have been to Opry's. Have you?
No, I'm not. No.
My sisters tried to do them a little bit. That's the most I know about them.
Yeah, they're fun. It's a bunch of old people. I'm not going to skate around it.
All right, yeah, educate us here.
But they have like a potluck. And they have entertainment. They have multiple bands play for these folks, and they always do it like on a Sunday night, after church, and they might have cards or bingo or whatever. So I did that. That was what I was able to do as far as my age went. So I got a lot of experience doing that, touring around. I was all over Texas, as a kid. So
You're like 8 years old, right? Like
Yeah.
You're still, okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure we haven't
No.
gone a decade or anything.
yeah, we haven't jumped.
Yeah.
My parents took me all over, and I just started meeting more and more people. And I met a guy up in Nashville. We were actually at Green Hall. I was performing with 2 Tons of Steel at Green Hall that night. And he heard me sing, and he worked at William Morris Agency at the time. And he told my parents, you need to get her up to Nashville just for exposure, just for experience. Just be surrounded by it, have a couple meetings, and get her accustomed to that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. They took me up to Nashville, and one of the venues that I would sing at regularly, the owner got us backstage passes to the Grand Ole Opry.
Nice.
And it was so incredible. Back then I already knew the roots of country music, but to be there and to see little Jimmy Dickens and Loretta Lynn and Porter Wagner.
Jeez, what exposure. That's
So
wild.
cool.
That's so wild.
But there was a kid named Tommy Shane Steiner that was singing there that night. So I met him as well as Wes Hightower and Brian Wayne. really great songwriters. Wes was #1 background vocalist for years and years in Nashville. Any record you hear, especially George Strait, is Wes Hightower. He's incredible. Anyways, they took a liking and kind of helped me out. I had a couple meetings, and of course at the time they were like, "You're very young, you're great, you have really good style and a good voice, but keep doing this and this and keep playing." And it was really good to have that feedback as a child, and then I got the opportunity to sing on the Grand Ole Opry when I was 11 with 2 Tons of Steel. So it's just a year after I went to the Grand Ole Opry for the first time, and it was so surreal.
Yeah. She's 11 when she did this, by the way, because you weren't keeping up. 11 years old. Okay.
That was cool.
That's
it was
so
really cool.
wild. That's so crazy.
Yeah. And then I got invited back the next year to hire my own band and do the Opry Plaza parties,
Cool.
which is a free show outside of the Grand Ole Opry during the summer.
But now it's you. It's like your band.
Yeah,
so
it was my own set. They said 90-minute set,
Yeah. Ooh, all right.
which is huge
Yeah.
for a 12-year-old. So
to say the least.
Yeah. So since we had gotten close to most of Ace and the whole band, we hired them, and it was crazy. It was August before we went up there, and we did a rehearsal, I guess about a week out before we left. And we went to Anhalt Dance Hall. Have y'all been there? It's down in South Texas, but they have no AC, and it was the middle of the summer, 105 degrees, and so me and the Ace and the whole band rehearsing and just sweating, and it was so crazy, and it was such hard work. That rehearsal really put into perspective how long of a road I had ahead, and how hard work.
Yeah.
What it means.
Being professional and really cranking it out. Yeah.
Having to put a set list together, having to learn every song, having to get the band in sync. So that was really cool. We went up there, played the 90-minute set, and then they asked us to do a song that night on the Grand Ole Opry. And it was the coolest part for me was that some of those members of the Ace and the Whole band had never played on the Grand Ole Opry because George Strait only played on it, I think, once or twice. But due to his tour schedule and stuff, he didn't get up there much. But that was the first time a couple of them had played, and they still to this day thank me for that. And it's just, it's mind-boggling and crazy that I actually experienced that. It feels like a different life, So my parents decided after that to move me up there so I could get experienced and grow up around the business, come into my own as a teenager up there. And it was a great experience. I met so many people, spent a lot of time at Sony ATV Publishing, writing with Dale Dodson and Wes Hightower and Brian Wayne. And, there was a lot of rejection during that time, a lot of rejection. But looking back now, I see that it was just criticism, and it was just them trying to teach me, to get better and get better
in this town and trying to get it
right,
exactly.
And gain some hard knock experience. And at the time, I just thought, oh well, they don't think I'm good enough, and I'm not good enough, and they're slamming their door in my face, and it's silly kid stuff. But it took me a little bit to get over that after I left Nashville. I moved back to Texas to kind of find my roots. The sound in Nashville was changing at the time, and I'm traditional country, and they basically said there's no spot for you right now, and either go to college at Belmont or go find your roots again. So that's what I did, and I actually got a little off track. I lost a couple of my best friends right before I left, and that kind of derailed me a bit, and I was about to give up. I pretty much gave up on my dream for probably a good 4 or 5 years. Circumstantial things and relationships and stuff like that, but mainly the heartache and how I knew that if I was going to make it and get to where I wanted to be, I was just going to have to put my nose to the grindstone, or I could go to school and be a teacher.
Yeah, I mean that's huge.
So I decided to go to school, and I ended up majoring in business, and which has actually helped me quite a bit now.
I imagine.
So I went there for 2 years, and I have to back up a little bit. I graduated a year early from high school because school is just not my thing.
Yeah.
And so...
Or is it?
I don't know. But it was, it was funny that I decided to go to college because I was so miserable in high school, and I knew what I wanted to do, but anyways, just got lost, detoured, and finally, kind of started coming back around again and writing again. And I had, people around me, like my family and my friends, that were like, what are you doing? This has been your dream all your life. You have put in this much work. Why would you just give it up? Mm-hmm. So a friend of mine who married my brother's best friend knew William Clark Green really well, and asked him if there was a way that I could sing at one of his performances or anything like that, if there's any way that he could help me out. And he called me and he said, hey, I wrote this song with Danny Flowers, and she's not going to be able to be here for the album release party in Austin, so would you like to sing the duet? And I was like, absolutely, that's so cool. Yeah. And so I got the album about a month before it came out, and I was just like antsy for people to hear it. I'd learn the songs and walk down the street and just be so excited for him, because I knew what what it was, going to do for his career. Was this? It was Final This Time.
That's a good one.
Yeah. He did that record, and then he did the live record, exact replica pretty much of that record. But I asked him if I could do harmonies on all the songs, and he said yes. And he had me front and center that night on the stage in front of all of the people in the industry, because it was his album release. It was a private party. Sure. Everybody in the business. So that really put me on the map, so to speak, in this scene, and it was really, really cool and generous of him.
That's amazing. Yeah, that is amazing.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
I know. He loves to help young artists and artists that are trying to do what he does, but that just lit my fire right back up.
Oh yeah.
And that's all it took. Like,
yeah.
So
that's all it took. Just get in front of a bunch of industry people. And
get
rolling.
Yeah, and I mean to sing with that band.
Yeah.
There's so much energy.
Yeah.
Their chemistry and energy on stage is unmatched. Like, that is by far my favorite thing to do, is perform with them.
They're awesome.
So anyways, it really lit a fire under my butt to get my material out there, because I had been writing since I was 14. At that point, I had a really good catalog of songs, and songs that I had written as a teenager that I knew if I didn't record them now, that they'd never be heard. And so my EP, the 5 songs, besides White Trash Widow, I wrote between the ages of 14 and 19. Wow. So, I really wanted that project to be out there forever, and those songs are heard, and I'm really happy about it. But anyways, since then, it's just been crazy. I've balls to the wall, just run the road like crazy. Like, it's hard to even describe how much I've been going. Sometimes I feel like, it's going to take me a good month of downtime to really reflect and take it all in of what I've done in the past couple years. But since I released my EP, it's been really cool.
Very cool. Yeah, you've been going and blowing since then for sure. Lie to Me was one that I was gonna mention too, and you already hit that. Like, that you wrote that at such a young age. It's just crazy. Just so much emotion in it, and all those songs actually. The whole EP. If you haven't listened, do it. Spotify, iTunes, whatever you have to do.
Album cover's great.
Album cover's great. Yeah.
Matchless Exposure. Christina Feddersen.
Ooh.
Hit her up for anything.
There you go.
She also did the new Sunny Sweeney record, so y'all go look at that. That's really cool.
There you go. Some arts with it too.
Yeah.
So what's not to get off the story mode, because that's an incredible story. I would think anyone would say that, but I want to get some insight as an artist as what you do now, I guess. So what's a typical practice like for you? What gets you rolling? What's something that you do to either warm ups or something along those lines? Like,
well, I've learned the past couple years you know, I have been making a living off of being a full-time artist.
Yeah.
And that's really, really difficult when you have to sing for your money.
Yep.
So, you know, the 3-hour gigs get pretty taxing. But, you know, I find motivation in watching other artists, watching new artists, and, you know, you have to stay ahead of the curve in this industry, no matter what. So, you know, being on the road singing so much, I started to tell that my voice is worn. So I started looking up really good vocal exercises and things. So before a show, before something like this, I'll do breathing exercises and vocal exercises.
Yeah, open everything up.
Open it up. Yeah. And it's helped quite a bit, but, you know, also just like on the way here, I was just singing Miranda Lambert the whole way, you know.
Yeah. I think some research.
Either
Who
way.
isn't doing that on a daily basis?
I mean, come on. Jed did that coming up here, the whole album.
It's true.
All the time.
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah, it's for about a year and a half. I was pretty much living out of my vehicle, you know, just sleeping on couches and whatnot. And since the past like 4 or 5 months, I was finally able to pay a rent and get into a house and settle down a little bit, which has been nice. But now I'm getting antsy again. I'm like, okay, I gotta go.
Yeah. Well, at least you got that side now too. You have a roof, and you can still. I mean, obviously you know how to do that well, so you can get out and go.
Yes, I get a good like 36 to 48 hours at home a week, and I'm content with that.
Ready to go. Hey, that's it though. I mean, honestly, that's. I would think most musicians would never get that. I mean, if you're on a tour for months and months.
Yeah.
It's fortunate for you. So
yeah.
For now, you'll be wishing you had that back. I'm sure at some point.
For sure, but yeah, I feel like I'm right in the middle of it. You know, of the hard part.
You're cranking through.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here.
Everything motivates me. You know, this motivates me so much. And I've done a lot more writing on the road than I ever thought. I never thought that I'd be able to sit in my car and come up with a melody and an entire song in my head. Just never thought that was possible.
Just hit it just as you're going. Yeah.
There's one that I'm gonna play in a little bit called "One of the Boys" that I wrote probably in an hour and a half or something like that.
Cool.
Just in my head, in my van on the way to Lubbock, because there's a big stretch of highway where you don't have service or radio.
Fun. Yeah.
So,
love the
so yeah.
So much.
And you've got one called, is it Shoulder? You played in Flower Mound? That one's really good too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I can play that as well. It's on my EP. I wrote that with Eric Barrera, and he's a great artist as well. He's been kind of back and forth from Nashville to here. I believe he's moving back soon, but he's a great writer. It's the only one we wrote together, but it's one of my favorites. Thank you.
Very cool. It's really good.
Speaking of Nashville.
Oh my gosh. Well, I actually went kind of at an unfortunate time. It was the day after the Las Vegas shooting. And Ward, he was just torn up, distraught. I don't know personally what was going on there, but you know, he really brought, I don't know, he brought this energy into the place that was like, we need to heal each other. You know, it's time to embrace one another with music. And usually Whiskey Jam is like, you can't even hear the music. People are talking so loud.
Yeah, it's loud in there.
So I was scheduled to play first. And I was so nervous because, well, I was fine until he announced a moment of silence for 2 minutes. So I'm like, oh my gosh, there's people in there crying, holding each other. I'm like, what am I going to do? Because I was going to start out with a drinking song, like get everything. I'm like, I can't do that. So
I was going to ask, what did you play? Oh, man.
So I played a song, The Life in Your Years, that I wrote after my 2 best friends passed away. And it was cool. Everybody was listening. It was very still. And I had a lot of really good feedback. People, you know, telling me that song really touched me, healed me. And that's what I do it for, period. So that was really, really awesome. But it was cool to see her I had no idea that you had a sister up there.
Yeah, I was like, she's at Belmont.
Okay.
And I said, you got to get up there. For one, Curtis was there too that same night. And I think my sister actually told me about you.
Oh, really?
So when I told her you were going to be there, she's like, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll be there. It worked out pretty nice.
No, it was a little reunion. Actually, I have a picture. It was me, Curtis Grimes, Bradley Banning.
Yep, Bradley's here too.
Josh Ward or Jake Ward. I can't. I get them mixed up. Either one. I think one of them's from Texas. I think it's Josh Ward.
Well, Jake and Josh, I think, are from Texas, right?
Oh, well, then
Jay Ward.
I thought it was Bush, though. I can't remember. Because Bradley was on that same week after Whiskey. He was up at Whiskey.
He came down,
but he was there for
He was just hanging out.
And also Drew Fish.
Yeah, he said Drew Fish was there. I remember that.
Yeah, that was cool.
Because he kind of like, when Bradley walked in, he said it's kind of like, what? Because my sister had a shirt on, I think.
Yeah.
He was like, what are y'all doing up here?
That's
how
what
you
I said
tool
to her.
yourself
I
alive.
was like, oh, y'all come to Nashville? She was like, oh,
we're
yeah,
all
I
over.
live here.
All over the world. Got one in
That's great.
Shanghai.
We're
We got one in
international.
India. Yeah, we're taking over. Texas Local Live
India.
around the world. Yeah, we're trying to kill it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right, so now you're meeting everybody in the industry, and you have met everybody in the industry before you were the age of 12.
Everybody.
Literally, I'm trying to think of something you didn't meet. Give us a perspective of the industry, Texas scene. Let's at least narrow it to this huge state. Your perspective of the scene here. I mean, you travel the state and you see venues and other artists, and like, what's it looking like on the road for other potential artists who want to get in, and fans for that matter?
Well, first and foremost, it is hard work.
Yes.
There's no
Sorry, I
no
thought
skating.
that's a given.
Yeah, no skating around that. You really have to bust your buns, but it is so inspiring because, you can go a week at a time and live, hundreds of miles from somebody, and you see them once a week in different cities because you're playing at the same place or down the road from them. What I've seen the most in the Texas scene is diligence and persistence and just hitting it as hard as you possibly can. And I think that's just Texas spirit in general. But, it really makes you work harder. It really makes you look at yourself as an artist and be like, am I doing as much as I possibly can because that person is, and they're getting ahead.
Yeah, when you see it, exactly. A little bit of rivalry, but you're also helping out too.
Right. It's kind of a fine line. It feels like competition, but it's not. It's not competition.
Yeah.
But it's your compadres, and the support in this industry is really, really amazing. Of course, there's the dark side of everything, but I think first and foremost, this scene is all about helping one another. Even if it's a green artist, even if it's someone who has never played music in their life and they get the fire, help them up, because you were there at one point. It's really taught me so much because Nashville is very different. That industry, that scene is mostly a songwriting, recording community. That's what they thrive on. Their artists tour to promote their albums, but here, artists tour. That's the life. That's the core of it all. And I don't know. I love seeing both worlds, and I love both of them so very much. And I can't wait for them to collide in a healthy, good way, because I think country music and Southern rock and red dirt and Texas country could be completely indestructible. But, there's still some attitude on either side, and hopefully someday we can all get along, be friends. Because
what's something you would change then? I guess since you're on that note.
I would change the trash talk. I'd say that's putting it pretty heavy, but when I go up there, I don't hear people talking trash about Texas, and down here, people don't really trash Nashville unless you bring it up and it's really a big topic, I guess. And there are some select few that bash it. And it's
And you're talking bash between the two,
Right.
or, I guess,
right,
Nashville
back and
the
forth.
state.
Yeah, and it's crazy because we've got the touring, we've got the venues, we've got the fans. They've got the money. They've got the songwriters. They've got the record labels.
Yeah.
You know, what is the issue? Who knows? But you know, it's been a rivalry for too long, I think. I mean,
I blame
Miranda
Arkansas.
and Casey and Marin and George, I mean, they all came out of Texas, and just think about all the outlaws.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And still, you know, there's a conflict of interest.
Something's got to give at some point.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, it
I
will.
hope it happens.
It will, for sure.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny because I hear a lot of newer stuff that's coming out of Nashville sounding a lot like Red Dirt, sounding like Southern rock. And
Is that on purpose, or is that
I think it is
natural, you know, osmosis of people moving, you
revolution
know,
of music, yeah.
Hopefully, that's what it is.
I hope so too.
Because they're getting crafty too, I will say. They are getting super crafty at the way they can use MIDI.
I know, and I think that Chris Stapleton and Midland and, you know, Little Big Town, and Zach Brown Band, those hard-working artists that have toured, that have really put their nose to the grindstone and seen the ins and outs of it, they're helping it stay alive.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
as soon as Nashville can start making money on you know, mainstream music as far as country music, real traditional classic country music, it's going to come back around. And then we're going to have little pockets of the country genre. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
You know? I would just wish we would all get along.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it. That's all I care about.
That's awesome. That's your Miss America.
Some
Just we
very-
need to all get along.
She's beauty and she's grace.
Oh, yes.
I just watched that last night. Sorry.
Nice. So what's coming up next for you? You said you're rolling around all the time, but what's in the docket coming up?
Well, this week is actually kind of light, which will be nice. I'm doing the national anthem on Friday for a veterans event, and then
Wait, where? What event? Yeah, it's okay. I got it.
It's okay, I'll have to check on that.
Because I'm going to some this weekend. I think it's that. I think Madison Rising is playing
On Friday?
Saturday. It's a 2-day thing. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
okay.
National
Well, it's like a luncheon.
Oh,
Um,
that's not.
I'm not sure if it's private or not, but
Yeah, I'm probably not invited either way.
You know.
They wouldn't let me in.
yes, you are. Always. Anyways, Saturday I'll be in Stephenville at Bostocks. I live in Stephenville, so that'll be nice. It's full band show, my first full band show in Bostocks, and I'm pretty sure my first real full band show in Stephenville.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
So that'll be
Saturday,
fun.
huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Saturday we'll go on about 10:30, play till about 12:30.
Very cool.
Coming up, I've I've got an interview with 1950 Clothing Company, and I mean it's slowing down at this time of the year. I was just in Abilene and San Angelo this last weekend, but I'll be playing at Love Field quite a bit. I played that.
I saw it on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool. I think that's a great idea. But I'll be doing that a couple more times. So I'll try to get a Facebook Live video
There you go. Yeah.
for the Facebookers.
There you go. Cool.
But anyways, yeah, that's what I got going on. I'm saving up to record a single. My single "Lie to Me" is out right now. It's my second single released to Texas radio, and it is number 67, I believe, this
Okay.
week on the charts, and on Texas Music Pickers Spotify chart, it went from 56 to 51 this week.
Nice. So call and Spotify and do
Yes,
it all.
please.
Lie to Me. It is out. So
Yes.
go get that.
And I'll play that as well.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
I'll play all new one.
Any other social plugs in, since we're on the plug-in train?
My website, kensiecoppin.com, KensiecOppin. We just revamped it, so there'll be some new blogs, and there's some articles and quotes and things like that, but as well as video and my music that you can preview before you buy it. Also, we just added some videos to YouTube, so that was pretty scarce, but we're slowly
cool.
but surely
Yeah.
getting some more content out there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Keep it going. That's all you can do.
Thank
Once
you.
you start it, keep it rolling.
Yeah, you can't
You're
stop.
doing good so far. That's
Thank
all I
you.
can say. I mean, you've done since you were like 8, so
Well,
maybe I tell you that, but
It never gets old that people like y'all, enjoy what I'm doing still and support me and allow me to do stuff like this. So thank you.
absolutely, yeah. We are here to do it, and we are grateful that you came out today and did this with us.
Me too.
And now we want to hear some stinking music because
Okay.
we are ready to hear some tunes.
All right. Hey y'all, my name is Kensie Coppin, and I'm gonna play y'all a song that I wrote called "One of the Boys." Sitting on the front porch, watching the sun go down. We've been hustling all week. Tonight you wanna paint the town. I was gonna stay home and run a bath, but I got a feeling it won't end up like that. You got a way of making me risky. Riding ATVs and horses, shooting buck and racing Porsches, drinking beer till 2 a.m. Round of bullets, do it again. Well, pass me the guitar, oh yeah, we're closing down this bar. River floating frog again. Desert camping, mountain fishing. Don't think for a second I can't handle your toys. I'll always be your girl when you want. I'll be one of the boys. They fill up the cooler, grab some chips and gummy bears. Driving till we hit the hill country and fresh air. I'll do anything you want me to do, as long as I'm doing it with you. Riding ATVs and horses, shooting buck and racing Porsches, drinking beer till 2 a.m. Round of bullets, do it again. Well, pass me the guitar, oh yeah, we're closing down this bar. River floating frog again. Desert camping, mountain fishing. Don't think for a second I can't handle your toys. I'll always be your girl when you want. I'll be one of the boys. I'll be one of the boys. All right, this next song I wrote is called "Lie to Me," and just released this to Texas radio. It's number 67 right now, so y'all call and request it. It's called "Lie to Me." You say you're just being honest, but it's just what's on your mind. Too close to commitment
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Check us out at texaslocallive.com for everything else that's going on in our world. Be sure to check us out on all the other social media platforms we have at Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat at Texas Local Live, and we hope to be seeing you around there.